Hi and welcome to all the racing enthusiasts around the world joining us for this pre-recorded show. We are recording on Thursday, early doors for the Friday twilight meeting, which commences at 15:30. Race number 1, Hollywoodbets Greyville, and we are racing on the poly track. Let's get straight into race number 1, which is the opening leg of the bipart. And I think most of the punters will be bankering number 5, Coral Blaze. This is a daughter of the United States from the Robin Clausen stable. Looking at the betting, 9 to 10 as it stands. It is pre-recorded, so take note of any additional scratchings. Number 7, Arctic Fury, just having a look, has been withdrawn. So take out number 7, so there's only 7 runners who go down to the post. Coral Blaze at 9 to 10. I think they've found the right field for this daughter of the United States. In form, coming here with 2/3 and a second to Towers of Gold last time out. And I think the 1500 might have just caught Coral Blaze out last time. 1400 meters on the poly track from a neat draw. I think this is a horse who's going to take quite a bit of beating. Is quite short in the market, however does stand out as the horse to beat. Last time out went off at 5 to 2 and has been a leader in the last 3 runs, and that was at the 800 and right there at the 400 meter marker. So things could really pan out, and number 5, Coral Blaze, I don't believe will get an easier opportunity. Now, the whole day, I'm going to give you stats throughout the meeting on draws, and for those of you who follow the draws out there, maybe 1 or 2 shrewdies. Number 2, Magic Maverick, who's trading at around 5 to 1. From the last 441 races, course and distance, by far the highest number of winners have come from gate number 2. So if you're following the stats, number 2, Magic Maverick from the Gary Rich stable, ignore that last run, a big runner and certainly needs to be included. And then number 3, She's a Rocket. That's my lurker, trading at around about 12 to 1. I think this is a horse who could really improve and run into the exactors. But a very thin field in race number 1. We're going to lean with horse number 5, Coral Blaze. Number 6, Tackle Telvi, improved big time last time when showing the necessary improvement, 3rd behind Izibulo, and another runner that needs to be taken into consideration. But in summarizing race number 1, you're going to be the judge. Are you going to take the 9 to 10 about number 5, Coral Blaze, in a very weak lineup? Number 2, Magic Maverick, the stats are with this individual. And number 3, She's a Rocket. I think that could be the springer in the pack for race number 1. Next up will be race number 2, which will be the opening leg of the place accumulator, run over a trip of 2,000 meters. And when you're looking at the draw stats, well, you can't get really excited on the form of the horses, but number 2, City Lights, if you ignore that last run when not striding out, huge runner. And number 3, Priceless Pearl, who's got no form, but the stats suggest draws 2 and 3, significant amount of winners, so worth including. However, you've got to put it into perspective, and when it comes down to the crunch, I've just had a word with Paul Lafferty. He's got 2 runners in the race, and he's very upbeat about both runners. Number 4, New Frontier, second to Bellas Pablo last time out, and he's a horse who was allowed to stride last time. And I'm glad they allowed him to use his action, because earlier on he was a little bit stroppy. He wanted to fight with the riders. He's still learning how to race. So Sean Veal will hopefully pop him out and in a poor lineup get him into a handy position, and hopefully he can build on that run. 3 runs back, he was 3rd to Captain Marsala when he over-raced over the 1600 meter trip. So 2,000 meters, he's had 1 run on the poly. That was his 2nd effort when he jumped outwards. No show, definitely worth another say. Amorfati, number 5, Amorfati ran 2nd to Ishi Wishy Wishy last time out. And this is a horse who's on the improve. needs to be included, and they both carry the 56 kilograms. And then number 6, Arjuna. Paul Lafferty said, be very careful of the daughter reversing Geterix with the rider taking the weight off the back, and he'll be looking for the exacta 4 from the 6. So race number 2, we're going to lean with number 4, New Frontier, and then we're going to go numbers 5 and 6, and that's going to be the call for race number 2. Stepping into the ring for race number 3, which will be the opening leg of the pick 6, and the distance will be 1,800 meters. Taking a look at the betting, they have number 2, Royal Swan Master, priced up at 5-2. Unfortunately, he's developed a bad habit of losing significant ground at the start, and that has cost him in recent runs. Last time out, he was slow out 4 lengths. He was beaten under a half a length behind Officer in Command. He's at 5-2. Now, number 7, Officer in Command, he's found the early support. 33-10 down 5-2, and why not? He's in search of the hat trick. He's absolutely loving KwaZulu-Natal. He's found a new lease of life here down on the coast, and he's gone back to back. Serena Moodley jumps aboard him. On the poly track, his last run, he beat Royal Swan Master. He's 1 from 1, and he's certainly the more genuine of the two at this stage of the game. He's a horse who likes to be just off them. He pounces, he puts in his run. And we're going to have to say number 7, Officer in Command, although going up from an 85 to a 90, so he does get the merit rating hike. I'll still say he is the horse that they have to beat, because number 2, Royal Swan Master, he's developed that bad habit of jumping slowly. If he jumps on terms, he should have the beating of Officer in Command at the weight turnaround. So hopefully Sean Veal will get him out and get into a decent position. Now, when it comes to the stats, number 3, Banzai Pipeline, from the last 100 races or so, draw number 3 has found the most number of winners when it comes down to the percentage, and with 52.5 kilograms on his back, for the stat players out there, number 3, Banzai Pipeline is the horse for you. Positive Attitude number 1, this is an interesting runner, just had the 1 run here over 17.50 when fading out of contention. So all in all, a very, very tricky race. So putting me in a corner, we're going to go with number 7, Officer in Command. Due to his recent consistency, he's in the form of his life, and he is going to be the horse to beat. The weight suggests that number 2, Royal Swan Master, will turn it around with him, and if he does jump on terms, I wouldn't be surprised. And then horses like Banzai Pipeline and number 1, Positive Attitude, in race number 3. As we step on the gas and move on to race number 4, which will be run over 1,800 meters, and just having a look at the current betting, 12-10 about number 2, Field Marshal. So Field Marshal is your current 12-10 favorite. Number 3, Burning Man, is at 7-2. Number 6, Bella's Pablo at 6-1. And then we have number 4, Blazing Light, at a price of 8-1. You can then get 10-1 and better the rest of the field. Now the selections, I'm going to go with number 2, Field Marshal, to beat number 1, Policy of Truth. There could be a little bit of value there at around 33-1. And then just looking at the scratchings, take out numbers 10, Tom's Act, and number 11, Higher What the Goldberg. These are the 2 early casualties, so 10 runners will go down to the start. Right, let's kick off with the favorite, number 2, Field Marshal. He's a lovely looking specimen. He's got the ability. He's currently rated a 92, and Gavin Lorena will jump aboard him. The interesting thing is, Gavin Lorena jumped aboard Bella's Pablo last time out, and he has ridden him before, so he knows exactly how good Bella's Pablo is. And Field Marshal, he is riding this one for the first time. So the son of Lancaster Bomber at 12-10. There's going to be a number of punters out there who'll be looking to have a bet on the nose. And let's see, ran second to Salukwe last time out, went up 2 points in the merit rating system. And look at his debut run behind Bourbon Warrior. That was a decent effort. We've seen Bourbon Warrior come out and frank the form line. He's a model of consistency. First time on the Polly. So if he takes to the Polly, then number 2, Field Marshal. I know the stable hold him in very high regard. He could end up being the horse to beat. But at 12 to 10, we'll just err on the side of caution because I believe there are dangers. Talking of dangers, number 1, Policy of Truth could be a little bit of a springer. He's jumping onto the Polly track for the first time, but I like the fact that he's come down in the merit trading system. From an 84, he's now been dropped to a 73. I like that last drop. So that's a big plus for number 1, Policy of Truth. Number 3, Burning Man. Now, here's very interesting. Beat Bella's Pablo by 4.5 lengths, 4.6 lengths to be exact. He only goes up a 0.5 kilogram, and Bella's Pablo, there's a 0.5 kilogram between them. So he absolutely waltzed away from Bella's Pablo, and he's only a 0.5 kg worse off. Bella's Pablo absolutely cruised in last time out, but he beat a very moderate field, and they've pushed him up the 8 points. So let's see if those 8 points are going to stop Bella's Pablo. But I do believe as a 4-year-old, he is still better than a 75. Once you look beyond those runners, you take your pick. But race number 4, number 2, Field Marshal, that is probably the horse they have to set their sights on. And then horses like number 1, Policy of Truth, I think that could be upset material. Burning Man, straight out the maidens, along with Bella's Pablo. We're going to get to see what they're all about. And just looking at these selections, Burning Man, he has 1 on the Polly. He's 1 from 1 on the Polly, so he could just have the advantage when it comes down to the surface. As we step on the gas and go to race number 5, which is the Greyville Convention Centre 69 handicap, they'll run over 1,600 meters. So they'll jump behind the drill hall. They'll be out of sight for the first 100 meters before they come into view. And race number 5, I'm going to give you my selections. Number 2, Way to Burn, will be my first pick to beat number 3, Cerulean Dancer. Number 1, Gelsamina, and then number 4, Calling All Angels. So that is my outlook at race number 5. Those are my top 4 selections. Number 2, Way to Burn, is joint 3-1 favorite with number 3, Cerulean Dancer. Number 5, Vermicelli, who's coming off a good second to Hot Strike last time out. That is in the betting at 7-2, and then we go out to 7-1 and better the rest. Watching the replay of number 2, Way to Burn last time out. She's a horse who had a lot of ground to make up. She was at the back end of the field, and only the last 200 meters she started to really get into her stride and find her feet. I like the way she finished off on that occasion. Dropping to the mile trip should be no issues. She is course and distance 1 from 1, so she is unbeaten course and distance. She's 1 on the Polly, so there are quite a few upsides to number 2, Way to Burn. And from that number 2 draw, I'm just hoping that she's a little bit handier than she has been of late. So dropping to the 1,600, hopefully the pace is on. She gets into a good rhythm, and I believe she's going to run an absolute steamer. When it comes to the draw statistics, number 3, Cerulean Dancer, from the last 440 races, course and distance, the highest number of wins have come from barrier number 3. So like I mentioned throughout the show, if you are following the stats, and those are the draws, then number 3, Cerulean Dancer, the joint 3-1 favorite from the Fani Broncos stable. She brings some fair form into the race. She did beat Green Bubbles 3 runs back. Very, very consistent. If you draw a line through her penultimate run over the 2,400, she's the type of horse who enjoys the course and distance. She has won, and she will be a big threat. And then number 4, Calling All Angels, number 5, Vermicelli, and number 6, Miss Leela. They all got their supporters, but when it comes down to the crunch, I believe number 2, Way to Burn. And if you're looking for the rough result, number 1, Gelsamina. She's the type of horse who could cause a bit of an upset at around 14-1, but number 2, Way to Burn. We hope that the Garth Puller outfit will continue their form with Kabela Matsanyana in the irons. As we move along to race number 6, this will be run over the distance of 1400 meters. Gallop TV 65 handicap. And you'll see in my suggested bet later on when we go through the suggested bet, I've advised 2 bets in race number 6, and they're both at double digits. Number 1, La Ultimo, trading at around 12 to 1. I think this is a horse that we can go each way on. And if you look at the run last time out over the mile, just faded late on behind Shoefella. And we've all seen Shoefella come through and do the business and has franked the form in no uncertain terms. Rachel Benecker claiming the weight, 53.5 kilograms. Look at the penultimate run, 20 to 1 down 33 to 10. So they had a strike in the penultimate run, which was course and distance. However, they found Ballymagic stronger on the day. And then last time out, just seemed to fade out of contention late on. La Ultimo, the only win has come over the course and distance, so the value is there at 12 to 1. And then number 5, Crested Eagle at 20 to 1 as we speak. Number 5, Crested Eagle, just having a look at the Hollywoodbets site, is trading at 20 to 1. And this is going to be my narrow first selection. So number 5, Crested Eagle, and number 1, La Ultimo. They'll be the 2 horses I'll be playing around. Crested Eagle, once upon a time, was a 94 in the ratings. He's dropped down neatly to a 55. He's a horse who is currently off form, but if you look at the runners he's run behind, if you go back to the 19th of November, that was over 1400 meters, where the average rating was a 98. He ran third, 4.4 lengths behind William Robertson. The average rating was a 98. He then lost his form his next 3 runs. He did have excuses. The form lines worked out very well. And then he's run behind Putulicious, Proud Master, and last time Kimball O'Hara. Right eye closed last time out, so we draw a line through that. Course and distance, 2 victories. So I really like number 5, Crested Eagle at 20 to 1. And then you put Brevin Plykeys into the mix, taking the 4 kilograms off the back, so 55 kgs on the back. Mine is the 451. So number 5, Crested Eagle for me. If he bounces back to his best, he's going to be a huge runner. And then, of course, the horse they're all going to have to beat is the in-form Hollywood Syndicate horse, number 8, Lulu the Legend. Has been third in the last 3 outings, and this is going to be a very big danger. Right trip, the 1400 meters, a set of cheek pieces go on, and number 8, Lulu the Legend, certainly does set the trend. So when you analyze race number 6, even a horse like number 9, Brass Bell, number 10, Count Marsh, there's a few runners that you can include. I see number 4, Tried and True from the Robert Claassen stable, has found some support. But for me, number 5, Crested Eagle, and number 1, La Ultimo, they're the value horses in the race. Swingers, quartets, exactors, and the likes play around them. Two more hurdles to negotiate at Hollywoodbets Greyville. It's a twilight meeting, so we'll be into the night for races 6, 7, and 8 under the floodlights. It'll be terrific to have night racing back. And looking at race number 7, I'm going to give you my selections. Number 4, Connery, is going to be my first pick. That is your current 18 to 10 favorite. From number 2, Mask On, who's trading at 5 to 2. And then after that, number 1, Intrepid, and number 8, Griffin Park. So pretty much a form results I'm looking in race number 7. And if you're looking for the springer in the pack, number 3, Charis Sands. From the last 198 races, like I mentioned, stats-wise, the most number of wins have come from trap number 3 over the course and distance. And when you look at the course and distance credentials for Charis Sands, 14 runs, 3 wins, a second, 4 thirds, and 2 fourths, and 3 of the 5 wins have come at the Poly. Absolutely loves the course and distance. So if you are going with the stats, the highest number of wins have come from draw number 3, Charis Sands. And this is a horse who's never far off the action, and Rachel Bennica does get a very good tune out of this son of Visionaire who loves the poly track. But my first selection, I'm going to go with number 4, Connery. And we saw the colours of Robert Bloomberg come to the fore with the filly. She came through the other day to win, and number 4, Connery, has gone back to back. First run up in KwaZulu-Natal at Scottsville, won over 1100 metres with JC Bottas aboard, went up to a 79 in the ratings, but a horse who's got a number of lengths improvement to come. So currently sitting off a 79 rating, takes the 4 kgs off the back, and a horse who could still be a late developer, and after being gelded, certainly come alive. So number 4, Connery, is going to be my first selection. Number 2, Mask On, 4 kgs off the back for Brevin Plykeys. Now, if you're having a look out there, finished third to Professor Lupin in 21.7, if that is correct, last time out. A strong finish, and with 51 kilograms on the back, certainly a horse that you're going to have to factor in. So number 4, Connery, to beat number 2, Mask On, and then number 1, Intrepid, and number 3, Chara Sands when it comes down to the stats. As we step into the ring for the lucky last, and the lucky last will be race number 8 at 1940. It is the Hollywoodbets Bright Future 72 handicap over 1200 meters. We are racing on the poly track, so 1940. All things being equal, the starter should say go, and you'll have your bets on and hopefully end up in the winner's enclosure. Studying race number 8. Let's give you a comment on a few horses here. Number 2, Sam the Wise Man from the Robert Claassen stable. This could be a nice lurker in the pack if you ignore the recent runs and you go back on the earlier form there behind Longsword, Vava Vegas and Circus Lights. Number 2, Sam the Wise Man's a horse with ability. Has won the one race from 27 runs. I say with ability in this type of class. So you've got to include number 2, Sam the Wise Man. And just having a look, there has been good support from 12 and 14 to 1 down 11 to 2. So the antipode support is for number 2, Sam the Wise Man. And let's see, with 52 kilograms on the back, let's see if the money could be spot on. We now move on to number 3, Preemptive Strike, who comes here with a very impressive CV, this course and distance. Course and distance specialist, 13 runs, 4 wins, a second, 2 thirds and 2 fourths. And I think they might have found the ideal opportunity and the right field for Preemptive Strike to get back into the winner's enclosure. The last form line behind Soho Star has been well franked. Finished 4th behind Heaven's Will in the penultimate run, who came out and ran a cracking 3rd recently, and 4 runs back beat Moya Walla Liga. 4 of the 5 wins have come on the poly for number 3, Preemptive Strike. 61 kgs on the back. He's an absolute soldier, and he'll give you a big run for your money. Number 5, Trippy T, yet to win on the poly, but did run second the only time he tried the poly when running second to Victor Rail. But it's been an absolute model of consistency, so you've got to throw that into the shake-up. Now, my first selection is number 9, Now I Got You. Once upon a time was a 106 in the ratings. Very, very high in the ratings. Now I Got You. He's been an underachiever. He's still a one-time winner from his 27 runs to date. He's just a horse who's been getting lost in his races. I had a chat with Muzi Yeni after his penultimate run, and last time out I fancied him. I thought he'd go very close to winning. And Muzi did say maybe a pair of blinkers might just get his mind on the job at hand. He jumps onto the poly again. He's had 2 runs for a 4th, and earlier on he did run second to Ishnana. He's taken on far stronger. Gavin Lorena comes into town, and he's dropped down to a 71 in the ratings. If the blinkers have the desired effect on him and he enjoys the poly track and everything goes according to plan, I think number 9, Now I Got You. he's probably the right horse in the race. So number 9 now got you to beat number 3, Preemptive Strike. After that, Trippy T, number 5, and number 2, Sam the Wise Man. There's been quite a bit of support for this individual, and he might be able to find that winner's enclosure in what looks to be quite a competitive race. Race number 8 over 1,200 meters. As we move on to my suggested bet for the day, we'll bring up my slide and you'll notice that I've gone for 2 horses in the same race. So there's no rules in racing, but each way, race 6, number 1, Le Ultimo at around 12 to 1. I believe there's a little bit of value there from the number 1 draw. The penultimate run, they backed this horse right off the boards. Big odds down 33 to 10, so they'll be looking for a decent effort. And then the same race, number 5, Crested Eagle, currently at 20 to 1 as we're recording. A horse who's done exceptionally well for me in the past, and if you catch him on the right day, Crested Eagle could certainly pop up. It is a very wide open affair. There's a few horses with form in the race, but I just think there's value with those 2 runners. Whether you have a bet on the nose, you include them in the exactors, swinger, or the quartet, you're going to be the judge, but I'm going to throw those 2 horses into all of my selections, and hopefully we come out in the winner's enclosure.